All right, bros, I'm gonna show you how I tie off drop shots. I'm gonna do it with the boat. Drop shot leaders. So I use 20-pound braid, right? And then connect it to 12-pound fluorocarbon with a drop shot hook. And I generally use a 1/2 ounce. I'm usually out deeper. Start, I'm gonna cut. Start by snipping the braid. I'm gonna snip it right here. It's done. I'm done with the hook. The hook's done. I mean, these don't last that long. I give them 2 or 3 catches and then I retie with a new hook. They just don't last that long. They're not worth saving, trying to recycle. You need to bury that hook. It needs to be as sharp as possible. All right, so we'll get rid of that. I'm recycling the weight. I'll reuse these little things. Sometimes you need to go in with pliers, very gently tighten them, but you can recycle these are fine. Next, grab our leader. I like 12-pound fluoro to 20-pound braid. A lot of people say that's too thick. You should go with 8-pound. Don't listen to them when you're offshore. The offshore adolescent bass, they're a lot stronger than the inshore bass under docks. All right, but it doesn't, we're not gonna cut it yet. Just gonna set up the leader and the braid. All right, so on your leader, you go about 6 inches and then make an eye. You want the tag end coming out of your palm right here. Okay, and you get yourself a little eye right there. I don't know how well you can see that. The reason you want it extended past your little finger, you're gonna feed the braid through. I'd say about that long. It's probably 5 inches. You don't want it too long because you're gonna hold the 2 pieces of fluoro at the eye and then use your thumb to twist it around 7 times, both pieces 7 times. I can do get you a close up down here. I think that's 7. Okay, should look like that. Should look like that, right? And then there's that eye. So looks like that. Okay, and then I pinch there, or actually I pinch here, pinch there at the end. Now you have to wrap it back up as many times, or you know, so I always try to do 7 down, 7 up. Okay, and then whichever way you came in the eye, you go out the eye the opposite. So here I came in through the back end, I'm gonna go out through the front end. I'm gonna take both pieces of the braid and both pieces of the fluoro and just pull tight, right? Then I'm gonna let go and I'm going to only grab the main lines, not the tag, wrap my fingers around, tighten them up. You get a beautiful little cinch. Right. You can snip it. You can get real close if you want. Just don't snip your braid. You can get as close as you want. It's not going to come apart. Same with the braid. Get as close as you need to. Go ahead and just snip that cinch. And then always test it. Right? That's not going anywhere. And that's also why I like 12-pound line. Or if you're doing 8-pound or something, a lot of times that when you test and you pull to cinch, it stretches it out. So I like that 12-pound. That's pretty beautiful. That's not gonna get snagged up on at the end of your line. Okay, now we need to get the length of the leader And what I'll do is I'll eye out 3 feet from the cinch. So, you know, you just eye out the best you can. All right, so 1, 2, 3. And you can go ahead and snip it right there. All right, I'm going to tighten up my leader line. Okay, now you have 3 feet of leader. Next thing is get your hook, and I always put a little weight on my hook. It just makes it easier. I like these. I really like these Gamakatsu size 3 DropShot split shot hooks. It's a good gauge. It's not too thick. It is a little thick, I will say. See, these have to be, it's almost a little too thick, but it works. But rather than pressure and force, like with the DropShot, it just catches the skin and just hopefully penetrates the skin. So you don't necessarily need to set a hook. So you don't want it too thick, because that makes it harder to splice through the skin. And then you get your worm, or whatever you're going to use. I use a Senko. Whatever DropShot you want, but this just weights it down and it makes tying the knot easier. Go in through the back end of the hook. All right, now what you're going to do with the leader is you're going to bring enough tag. You want about a foot. You want about a foot from that cinch that you tied from the braid. You want about a foot. Right there. Right, and then so you hold it. Okay. Now to tie this, right, pinch the tag. Maybe bring it up a little. And you're going to wrap that tag around 7 times. And it gets a little hairy because there's so much tag, and I'll explain that in a second, but you feed the tag through the eye. For this knot, I think it's a modified San Diego jam knot, but when you pinch initially, when you pinch the main line to the tag and then start twisting the tag around those two, it'll create an eye, and then you feed the tag through the eye. I didn't get it on camera. You got to make sure nothing gets caught here. Okay. Grab your hook, grab the tag in the main, start to cinch gently, get it wet, pull, let it cinch up the tag end and the hook, hold that pull, let go of the tag, pull, and you should see you can get a great little cinch knot there. I don't know how well that's going to focus for you. All right, and then you've got you should have about 2 feet of tag. You know, so I said after you tie it off to the braid, give yourself 3 feet. That's for a beginner. As you get more skilled at it and you get more reps in, go closer to 2. You know, you'll hear people, and then so the next question is, where do you place your weight, your DropShot weight? I like a 1/2 ounce. I like it to go fast, sink right down to the bottom so I don't get blown off my spot. So here's the interesting things. There's a lot of theory out there. And one idea is that you need to figure out how long the grass is that you're throwing to on the bottom, and make sure that you have enough leader, that, you know, your leader is longer than the grass. And most grass in this lake, and my lakes are about 2 feet, so I was doing that. But what I noticed by watching forward facing sonar is that even on a cloudy day where there's not much light, they'll follow this black tungsten weight down. That's what they follow. Like, they don't care about the white worm, right? They follow this. They follow this down to the grass. And it's almost like, I'd say 8 out of 10 times, and this is probably seeing this about 300 times, they don't care about the worm 8 out of 10 times. It's like this is too far apart almost. And what I noticed was when you bring it closer to about a foot, it helps them recognize the worm. So I go now about a foot. Even if I'm putting it into grass, they'll chase the worm into the grass. But now when I throw it and I started watching the forward-facing sonar, they'll initially head for a second, follow the weight, but then they see the worm. It's almost that it's like they're so headstrong and so tunnel vision focused. I don't think they even, like, they're oblivious. When you have a 2-foot leader, they're like oblivious to it. It's insane. It's pretty interesting, actually. And then when you shorten that leader up, even if you are going to bury it in the grass, they go in the grass and they dig out the worm. That's what I've noticed. I started getting more strikes when I did this. So you might want to consider that, right? And then you just cinch this down. I like these little, I don't know, I call them cinch. I don't know what they are, but you just pull them down and then they're on there. And if you need to adjust it, you can, though it does crimp the line. Okay, final notes. Now, you only need about a 1 foot, and this is even a little bit longer than I wanted it to be. That's so that when you grab it to pitch it out, the cinch doesn't go up into the eyes of your rod and it doesn't get caught. It just makes things a lot smoother and a lot more efficient. Another note is that this is tying off from your boat, and the drop shots are incredibly effective because you throw it right on their head or right in front of the structure, like you pinpoint, and all you need is down scan. You can use forward facing sonar, but all you really need is down scan if you're going out into deeper depths. But they're incredibly good technique, right? And they're very effective. They're very time consuming. Like, I just burned a half hour tying 1 leader, 20 minutes tying 1 leader. So what you want to do is, at your house, you want to tie off a bunch of leaders, put them in a plastic bag with a hook on it. That way, you know, when you get to your boat, you just pull out the bag, you got your leaders, you just tie off your cinch, connect the braid to the. In that case, what you would do is you would peel off. I would start with 4 feet, eye off 4 feet from the leader. So as you pull from the leader, 1 foot, 2 foot, 3 foot, 4 foot, snip it, and then you get, when you form that eye, you got 6 inches one way, 6 inches the other, and then you got 3 feet of tag off your eye, right? So, and then you can adjust accordingly. That's it. Hope you liked it. Hope it helped. Maybe I'll show you, if I catch one today off the drop shot, I'll show it to you. I'll sync it up here.